Morning, everybody. Hump day, Wednesday, halfway through the week. I've had a great week so far, busy week. I have busy morning this morning. I'll be got an hour-long coaching session with my friend Pat Precourt, my personal coach. Mike Gordon, good morning, brother. How are you? Mike's probably got a solid couple hours working already this morning. Sean Jones, good morning, bro. It's supposed to rain today. What's Sean got planned for today? Nate, good morning. So anyway, I spoke yesterday. Me and Xander Cruz from our Maryland office spoke at a Keller Williams office yesterday to a group of real estate agents. And we talked about basically how agents can support and work with investors to help grow their business. And also, talked about how if they have interest in investing themselves, how they might get started. What are some of the lessons that we've learned? What are some of the processes that we use to, locate properties? How do we manage construction and renovations of these properties? Basically just kind of peeled back the curtain and showed them how we run our businesses. And between the two offices, we'll do, over 500 transactions this year. Investment properties, a little bit of wholesale, a lot of wholesale, turnkey. We obviously fix and flip properties. We renovate them and resell them. And one of the things that came up was, we talked about this topic for quite some time, and I realized how important it was, and then I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure I talked about it this morning on Facebook. And I think the question started with, how do you know what to buy? And at first I was like, well, that's an easy question. And then the more I thought about it, it became almost more of like what not to buy than what to buy. So we talked about the standard investment calculation that you use, an easy rule of thumb when you're, say looking at, like each morning we look at 20 new properties that are on the market between 7 counties. And good morning, Brandon. What's up, buddy? And the first thing we do is we take, 75% of what the property would resell for minus the estimated cost of renovation. We use estimated before we look at the property just to try and narrow down 25 or so possibilities to maybe 5 or 6, because the most we can have one person look at in one day is about 6 properties. So anyway, 75% minus the typical cost of renovations for a house that size. You can tell a lot by pictures. And, we use a more conservative number on the higher end to be safe. And 75% minus cost of renovations. If that number's close to what, or reasonably close within what list price was or what we think we might be able to buy the property for, then we go look at it. So an easy rule of thumb, so that you're not out running around looking at 50 properties, is when you take asking price, if you put that number to the side, and then you take ARV, after repaired value. A lot of people didn't know what that stood for. They used the term adjusted retail value someone used, which I guess could be okay. But as far as I know, it stands for after repaired value. Anyway, ARV, it's a number we use a lot. It's important that you know what it is. After repaired value. So what's the property worth after you renovate it? Times 75%. We used to use 70%, but in today's competitive market, it's extremely difficult to buy at 70%. So ARV, 75% minus the cost of renovations. And if that number comes out, reasonably close to what asking price is, you should prioritize that house, go look at it and make an offer. Now, you might get there and ARV could be a little bit higher, it could be a little bit lower, your renovation costs might be a little bit off, but what it's going to do is going to help you, rather than running around and looking at 30 properties, chasing your tail, making offers that are getting declined. This will help you narrow it down to the best opportunities. So that was why we talked about, how do you know what to buy, what's a good deal, all that good stuff. Then we started talking about what not to buy, and I brought up the term buy box. most people kind of looked at me like, what's a buy box, right? It sounds like a bundle box from McDonald's. But a buy box is, for us, we're not quite as disciplined as we should be. But over the years, I've started to eliminate certain properties, right? Like we won't buy mobiles built before 75. We don't buy single wide trailers. We don't buy mobiles that are in a park. We don't buy properties, typically that are in a floodplain, depending on the premium, because when you buy a property that's in a floodplain and requires flood insurance, which is AE, by the way, and I always remember that by saying always extra. So floodplain AE is bad, bad, bad. AE, easy way to remember it, always extra. Why is it bad? The typical premium for flood insurance is about $1,200 a year. Well, it has to be escrowed unless the person's paying cash. So it's an extra $100 a month. Well, an extra $100 a month is about, say $25,000. So a person buying a house in a floodplain, AE, with the flood insurance is $100 more a month, which is just like them buying a $25,000 more expensive house. So now you're competing against homes that are $25,000 more expensive. Maybe they're bigger, maybe they're newer, maybe they've been renovated, maybe they're in a different school, whatever, or your house is just $100 more expensive than every other house they're looking at. So extremely challenging to sell homes that are in a floodplain AE. Good way to remember it is always extra. There's always going to be an always extra cost for that property. So we don't buy properties that are in a floodplain. We don't buy properties with extreme sloped backyards. Why? Not very appealing for a couple reasons. One, you can't do much with it. Two, it's extremely hard to take care of. Like, you got to imagine mowing, and when I say extreme, I'm talking about like a cliff. There's a couple newer construction developments. There's a few in Mount Wolf, Manchester, that were built like literally on the side of a mountain. If you buy the right one, they have a great view because the lot goes down and you can see literally for dozens of miles. But if you buy the other side and they go up, it's literally, you look out your back door and you're staring at a wall. So we don't buy those. We don't buy properties with the same driveways. Like, driveways are extremely steep one way or the other. We don't buy them. We've just found that over the years, those properties either don't sell or take twice as long to sell. So we don't buy them. We don't buy properties with less than 7.5 foot ceilings. Why? Well, you can imagine if you have a house and it's less than the 7.5 feet ceilings, it'll make you a little claustrophobic. Now, people aren't 7.5 feet tall, but you put light fixtures, ceiling fans. You can imagine having a ceiling fan that comes down another almost foot, so then you have 6.5. I'm just shy of 6 feet, so 6 inches above me, I got a ceiling fan. It's a little nerve-wracking, right? Most people do not like properties that have less than 7.5 foot ceilings, so we don't buy those. And of course, it rules out anybody that's 6'5". They got to walk around humped over the whole time. So, and you never know, that person that's 6'5" could be the right buyer for the property, but they won't buy it because of the ceiling. So we don't buy that. We don't buy properties with non-conventional layouts. So what is a non-conventional layout? Non-conventional layout could include things like all 3 bedrooms are on the first floor and the only bath is on the first floor. I'm sorry, all 3 bedrooms are on the second floor, right? So you have a 2-story house, all 3 bedrooms on the second floor, only bedrooms on the first floor, right? So that's unconventional. It means like you got to walk from your bedroom through the kitchen most often to take a shower, then back through the kitchen, back through the living room, and up the stairs. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you got to use the bathroom, you got to walk down a flight of stairs to go to the bathroom. It's just not the most appealing layout. So unconventional layouts, it can show up in a number of different ways. You just might be, sometimes you got to walk through a bedroom to get to another bedroom. Sometimes you got to walk through a bedroom to get to a bath. Just be aware of non-conventional layouts. So these are really, red flags that we're aware of, and we even have it right on our, property walk list that we use for each home. And then it creates a buy box. After you eliminate all the things you don't buy, you then have literally a box that these properties have to fit in order for you to consider them. And it eliminates you from stepping outside of your area of expertise. It eliminates you from overestimating the ARV of a property because you didn't account for a sloped driveway, you didn't account for the flood insurance, you didn't account for the non-conforming layout. And that stuff is impossible really to attach a value to. Like we talked about yesterday with the group of agents we were speaking with, a garage is worth, say, $10,000. So when you look at one house, it has a garage, look at another, it doesn't. It's easy to figure out what the difference is. It's nearly impossible, or at least I've never been able to do it. What are 6.5-foot ceilings worth in a house? How much less should it sell for? I don't know. Because most people that walk through it don't say, well, we like it, we'll offer $15,000 less. They walk through and say, I can't deal with that, I don't want to buy it. So it's not even a number. It's just the property won't sell. So I would make a list, take down those red flags, and then write, what your ideal property is. Do you only want to buy stuff that's in a certain school district? Do you only want to buy stuff that has at least 1.5 baths? Do you only want to do ranchers? Do you only want to do brick? Do you only want to do, properties over 1,500 square feet? That'll give you a buy box. It's a great way to stay in your lane. It's going to be harder to buy homes. But it's not about buying properties, it's about buying deals, right? So a lot of people get caught up in buying properties and buying homes. And while that's great, if it's not a property that you can make money on and it's not a property that's going to sell in a reasonable amount of time, it's just a huge source of stress, a huge source of outlay of funds, and it may sour your taste in a otherwise very lucrative business. So I think it's a great way to get started. Stay in your lane, create a buy box, create a list of red flags, stay away from the red flags, work hard to find deals in your buy box, and you'll be far more successful. I got a busy day. I hope you guys have a great hump day. Everybody do their best, have a great attitude. Cheer somebody up today with a smile, say thank you. You never know what they're going through. I was reminded of that recently, and I try and do it every day. You guys have a great day. We'll see you.